On KLCS in LA 36. My name is Randy Rosenwald, and this should be a tremendous matchup. The defending city champions, the Pirates of San Pedro. You know, they were the third-place team in the Marine League last year, but they got in the tournament and won it all. On the flip side, Carson won the Marine League, but got knocked off in the semifinals by Venice, and Venice is the team that lost to San Pedro in the championship match. So San Pedro wants to get the league championship, and Carson would like to claim the city title. We work once again with Ramona Shelburne. And Ramona, when you talk about great teams in the city of Los Angeles, San Pedro and Carson are right at the top.
Absolutely. Well, San Pedro, this was a team that was made up of mostly sophomores last year. They won the city title, and they're even better this season. So I think this is going to be a great matchup today.
San Pedro has most of those players back from last year, but they've added Natalie Benitez, a transfer from Hoover High School in the Glendale area. She's terrific.
Yeah, Benitez has been a great addition for the San Pedro team. San Pedro was good last year. They add Benitez, who's second in the city in kills already, 137 kills in 21 games, second only to Crystal Perryman, the great player out of Verdugo Hills. So huge addition for San Pedro.
When you talk about the Carson Colts, it starts with Mary LaPepa. She's unbelievable. She was the co-city player of the year last year, the top player in the Marine League, a tremendous hitter.
Yeah, Mary LaPepa was on a team that finished in the semifinals last year, and she was co-player of the year. What does that tell you about her season? Outstanding athlete, very smooth player. Talking about playing at St. Mary's next season. A lot of schools would like to have her on their roster next year.
She has a strong supporting cast around her. Speaking of supporting cast, the third member of our broadcast team is Debbie O'Meara. Let's meet her for the first time now.
Thanks, Randy. Now, as strong as San Pedro is, they may be just a bit under their peak today. Middle blocker Amber McCall playing with a hurt shoulder. Just about a year ago, she was out just playing at the beach with some teammates on a jump serve tore a deltoid muscle. Now, competitor that she is, she kept playing through the club season. She's been taking physical therapy, acupuncture treatments, but as it turns out, she is going to have shoulder surgery. Now, she's been postponing that till the end of the season. Talked to Amber just a little bit ago. She says she's at 93%. Now, 93% for a second-team all-city player isn't so bad, but we'll see how much she's challenged today. Randy?
93%. That tells you a little bit about the personality of Amber McCall. It is a terrific one. She is a great player, and this is a terrific Pirate team. They are 21-0 counting their club matches. No one has taken a game off them. If anyone can, it might be Carson. We're going to come back with the first serve. Meet the starters for Carson and San Pedro. A great one in City Section Volleyball right after this on LA 36 and KLCS. Yeah, there they come into the gym. Both Carson and San Pedro ready to go. They came off the floor for a brief time, but now they're excited to go. And it's quite a rivalry in the South Bay, in the Marine League, when you talk about Carson and San Pedro. In all sports, we've seen it in softball, Ramona, but it's just as heated in volleyball.
Yeah, you know, we were talking on the drive down here, Randy, about how this might actually be the best rivalry in the city section for girls sports. They have two great softball teams. They have two great girls volleyball teams. I think everybody gets excited to play each other. They're all friends. They know each other from club volleyball and from club softball. So this is always a great game.
Two experienced teams, two teams that'll be in the championship tournament unquestionably. Carson has lost one match to Narbonne in the Marine League. They're 3-1 in the league. Of course, San Pedro 21-0. They're 4-0 in the Marine League, and they have beaten Narbonne. Narbonne's another team that'll be a factor down the stretch, both in the Marine League and in the city. Some other powerhouse teams. Taft is very good. We saw Verdugo Hills and the aforementioned Crystal Perryman, who leads the city in kills with 278. But these are two of the teams that could be there come championship night at Occidental College. Pirates not ready to go. They are banged up, though. It's not just Amber McCall who's hurt. Samantha Taylor, number 16, their brilliant setter, she's not 100%.
Yeah, Samantha Taylor also has a shoulder injury. She's been nursing it. She missed all last week with the injury. She's back for this game. It's obviously a very important game in San Pedro's season, and I think, you know, San Pedro not at full strength. So if Carson is going to pull the upset like they did last year in this gym, San Pedro's got a few issues.
And Samantha Taylor will not start. Antonella Perhat will start in the back row to serve for her. And we're about to begin. There's Perhat, who came in last week and really set the Pirates well. And like Taylor, she's a junior. San Pedro is talented and has depth. This match is underway. Lopez will flag it down. And LaPepa got that one back. Miller has the opening, and the roll shot is down for Shannon Miller. She's only a 10th grader. There's Amber McCall playing with that bad shoulder. You can see the patch on the right shoulder. Replay, Rowley scoring. There'll be a point on every play. Best 3 out of 5. And Carson can ill afford those kind of errors.
Yeah, Carson lost to Narbonne last week. It was a big upset. And this is part of the reason why they had trouble passing the ball, and their defense was a little shaky. They've made some changes just for this game, but they've only had 1 week to practice these adjustments.
San Pedro, an outstanding serving team. There's a kill for Mertens on the outside. Jasmine Mertens, she too is a 10th grader. Came up to the varsity at the end of the freshman season last year, but as a sophomore, she's one of the lead hitters on the Colt team. 1 serving 2, and Mertens will put it in play. Bubaka is played, but we have double contact on Carson and a point for the Pirates. Number 5 is Shannon Miller. She's a starter, only a sophomore. Her sister Jennifer Miller, number 1, is the libero for the Pirates. So the Miller sisters are starting for San Pedro. Good deep serve. Lopez did well just to retrieve that ball. And a lift called on San Pedro's Antonella Perhat. And a point for the Colts. See that number 1 there, the different uniform for the Pirates, the white top. That is Jennifer Miller, the libero.
Those of you not familiar with volleyball, the libero wears a different jersey, and they only play on defense. They're not allowed to play in the front row.
Bree Hutton's spike is wide, and we're tied at 3. Keep in mind, Samantha Taylor, the all-city setter, not in the lineup yet for San Pedro, but she's told us she will play.
Yeah, watch this again. It's long. The set was a little short.
Another tough serve by Morales, and the Colts lead 4-3.
I think it's very important for Carson to get an early lead in this game because these are the underdogs. The Colts are definitely the underdogs in this matchup, and they can get a lead. San Pedro might start worrying a little.
On the joust, it's won by Mary LaPepa. You can hear the crowd hooting for LaPepa. They love her here. The City Player of the Year, along with Ashley Legaretta of Venice a year ago.
You know, it's interesting, Randy. I saw that, and you had somebody who lost in the semifinals and the runner-up, but nobody from the team who actually won the city title. Shows you how balanced San Pedro is.
Serve is wide, and of course that's an automatic point for the opponent. San Pedro down by 1. And Alex Bubaka to serve, and she has a jump serve. That's a great-looking jump serve. Tough for the Colts to play it, and they can't. And we are even at 5. That's such an advantage in girls volleyball. If you can serve tough and serve like San Pedro does, you can pick up some very easy points.
Well, and Bubaka is able to place this serve, too.
Tough jump serve, but that one's long. Alex Bubaka, who was first team All-Marine League last year as a sophomore. Mary LaPepa, Co-City Player of the Year. She's been All-Marine League every year, and this is her 4th year. And that serve is long. Barely. She really went for it there.
Well, I think she might be a little keyed up early in this match. Sometimes you just want to get the ball in, but this is a game that Carson, they would really like to take this first game and get a lead on San Pedro, so I think they're going for it, especially being tied early on.
Bree Hutton serving. Very dependable player for the Pirates. Willis with the hammer, but it was played by San Pedro. Good defense by the champions. Colts on the attack. Willis with the tip. Bubaka with the dig. Benitez going cross court has the winner. It's the first time we've seen Natalie Benitez put one down.
Well, and it came at a great time. Watch the set. It's a little close to the net, but Benitez makes a nice adjustment, goes cross court with it.
Bree Hutton. A very good serve, and Willis whistling a winner through. Corey Willis, a 5'11 senior, one of the co-captains, along with Mary LaPepa. 7-all. Looks like we are going to have a very heated affair here.
Absolutely. Corey Lewis had some steam behind that kill. It looks like Carson came out ready to play today. So no easy game here for San Pedro.
Or did we expect an easy one? Elaine Coleman is checked into the backcourt. That serve is behind Coleman, behind Bubaka and long. Teams serve tough, and they'll miss shots like that because they want to try to handcuff the defenders. The advantage is to the receiving team unless you can place a really tough serve. Benitez serving at Neapoli. Back row attack, and it's a winner for Mary LaPepa out of the deep court.
Wow, LaPepa from behind the line, perfectly placed ball right down on the white line there. It's not easy to do for the back line.
Not at all. Virginia Gutierrez, 5'11 senior middle hitter, number 76, into the front row for the Colts. That one's popped over by the Pirates. There's a block at the net, and it was Amber McCall with the roof. Well, she may be playing at 93%, but 93% was pretty good right there.
Yeah, 93%. Well, she might have got this done with 70%. Watch this. Absolute roof. And every single player on Carson tries to get the rebound, but nobody can come up with it.
McCall with the serve, and it's an ace serve. Neapoli had trouble. Great effort by Hirahara with the pancake dig attempt, but couldn't quite bring it up. Pirates by 2, the champions. Marine League Girls Volleyball on LA 36 in KLCS. That one is pushed back down. Shannon Miller taking advantage of the overpass, and it's 11-8 San Pedro. Christina Kumor in that huddle, first-year head coach of the Pirates. Took over for Vivian Gosnell and Ian Dixon.
Well, you watch San Pedro with that exploiting the miscommunication for Carson. Carson is actually without one of its top coaches today. Albert Hanneman, the great beach volleyball player, is an assistant for the Colts. He's out of town today. So Carson missing a valuable resource today.
Yeah, but there's Monica Hernandez in the middle. Monica's in her 4th year. 32-year-old head coach. Former outside hitter at El Rancho High School. Graduated there in 1990. And Christina Kumar on the other side is a former Pirate outside hitter. In fact, she played on 2 Marine League championship teams in 94 and 95. Randy Rosenblum, Ramona Shelburne, and Debbie O'Meara at the Carson gym. Carson and San Pedro. That one's hit long and out by Jasmine Mertens, and another point for the Pirates. And McCall doing an excellent job serving for San Pedro. Back set to LaPepa. Miller with the dig. Bubaka is done. What a great up and over by Amber McCall. That's the shot of the match. Saving, and out of a saving mode, she spun it over for a winning point.
Yeah,
this
beautiful.
is brilliant.
Watch this. Hirahara digs it, and McCall with a beautiful save, slides on her knees. Miscommunication between Carson players, and it goes to the kill.
Mertens spikes it long, and another point for the champions.
That's 6 in a row for San Pedro, and this is a nice little run coming here for the Pirates. That
one is put through by Willis, and I like the way Look, Corey Willis attacks. Corey Willis, one of the vocal leaders, really fires up the rest of the gang, and shots like that will fire him up.
Yeah, Corey Willis gets a lot of steam on that one. Nothing that San Pedro can do with it. Corey Willis, though, has to come out of the game on this rotation. And Lopez is in.
The lefty, 9 serving 14. From the middle, Bubaka. So many weapons on the San Pedro team. McCall, Bubaka, the Miller sisters. And we're not even seeing Samantha Taylor.
Now watch Bubaka go across her body through the single block. Great placement on that kill.
Perhat serving, the junior setter. Rolling dig by Miller. Sister Shannon Miller with the attack. Here goes another block by Bubaka. And Gutierrez ran into the net. Point San Pedro. I'll tell you, Shannon Miller and Jennifer Miller, the two sisters, playing very well for the Pirates. 16-9, that's long. Give Carson a much-needed point. Keep in mind, San Pedro has not dropped a game. Forget match. They haven't dropped a game this season. Bree Hutton. And Bree Hutton has a kill. And keep in mind, 21 straight matches, including 2 tournament wins, the Chatsworth tournament, and a very good field at the Venice tournament.
Yeah, they've beaten almost all of the top teams in the city except for Carson. This is the first time they've got a shot at them, and haven't had much trouble with anybody. They've really rolled and breezed through things. That's why we thought this would be a good game, but, you know, nobody's really given San Pedro much of a game yet.
Lopez, the lefty, putting it on the other side. Bubaka, too tough. Alex Bubaka. 3-year starter is Bubaka. She can play anywhere on the floor. She came in with 110 kills, 102 digs, 66 blocks, and 47 aces did Bubaka.
47 aces in 21 matches. That's a lot. More than 2 a game.
But it pales in comparison to Samantha Taylor, who has 89 aces, which is just off the charts. Another timeout. San Pedro has Carson reeling in this first game on LA 36 and KLCS, leading 18-10. There's Christina Kumor, former outstanding player. Saw the junior varsity as the head coach last year and takes over an unbelievable program.
Well, you watch, you're going to set for Bubaka again, and she doesn't look like she has much power, but wow, look at how much steam she had on that. Off of 2 players into the crowd, and Priscilla Lopez can only give chase.
Bubaka's just a junior. A concerned Huddle. LaPepa's done her things. Again, it's been a passing breakdown. It's tough for them to pass the tough serves of San Pedro.
Well, you know, Carson, after they lost to Narbonne last week, they changed a lot of things up. We talked to Paulina Neapoli, and she used to be an outside hitter, but today she's only concentrating on defense, and I think that's because San Pedro has so much talent all over the court.
Fans into it here at the home of the Colts, the Carson Gym. Shannon Miller, the sophomore, younger sister of Jennifer. She has 49 aces. She started last year as a freshman. LaPepa, not able to put it away the first time, but on that joust at the net, Mary LaPepa just jammed it through.
Mary LaPepa is so smooth at the net. Watch her get rejected here. She sniffs this one out, too long on the pass, and wins the joust at the net over Bubaka.
Morales serves. Carson confused. LaPepa thought it was coming to her. Gerada thought it was on her side, and the two of them looked at one another, and nobody took the ball.
Well, you know, Randy, we talked about this. They've only had a couple practices to work on this new rotation, and I think you saw the effects of that right there on that play.
Bubaka with that big serve right at Neapoli, and they're going after Neapoli. LaPepa has a kill. LaPepa is keeping Carson within contact. There she is, the all-city player. And you can see off this first game why she is the all-city player of the year from a season ago.
Yeah, LaPepa was actually blocked by McCall at the net, but that block made it so that San Pedro's backline defense couldn't get to it.
Carson and LaPepa serve it long. San Pedro needs to get to 25 and will have another game victory. And again, you got to win 3 to win the match. Hutton serve. Again at Neapoli. Every one of the serves are coming to Paulina. McCall tips. She's done. This is Benitez. LaPepa can't play it. Give the kill to the newcomer on the team, Natalie Benitez. Her coach says she has the best arm swing on the team.
Oh, you see LaPepa try to pop that one up. Didn't happen, had too much topspin on it.
Corey Willis, a wonderful up by Bubika. Terrific defense by Bubika, and a kill for Jennifer Miller, the libero.
You know, San Pedro just comes at you with so many weapons. You have Bubika who can hit, McCall who can hit, the Miller sisters. There's just too many weapons to defend. You almost have to pick your poison.
Can anybody in the city beat him? That's the first thing that comes to mind. If Carson can't beat him here, and Narbonne can't beat him at Narbonne, Taft's got size. Maybe Taft, maybe Chatsworth, who gave him a little bit of trouble in a tournament. Willis got that one through McCall. McCall was right there, but Willis's power just drove it off of her.
Yeah, Willis with a lot of steam on this one. Only a single block, and for a hitter like Corey Willis, that's just like Christmas morning.
Paulina Neapoli. Started from a year ago. McCall is blocked by Willis. McCall answers the second time. And keep in mind, Samantha Taylor has not played yet. She hasn't gotten off the bench.
Samantha Taylor has not played, and San Pedro is still rolling. Watch this little overeager there from Morales and LaPepa crashing into each other.
Sam Taylor is arguably the best setter in the city. And again, not a good job of moving the ball around by the Colts. Giving a point away, and it's game point for the Pirates, the champions. Happy-go-lucky Amber McCall. Benitez rifles the serve over. Corey Willis. Coleman with a nice up, and Benitez chased it down. LaPepa, yes. Mary LaPepa, for the moment, holding Carson in game one.
Well, you watch LaPepa on this one, and it's tipped off the block, and you see after this play, San Pedro, they were mad at Elaine Coleman. There was no communication on that one. It went right in between them. You see Benitez yelling. So even though they're up by 10 here, San Pedro knows this game can turn around very quickly.
Miller, she's blocked. McCall, she has her shot dug. LaPepa will just send it on the other side. Free ball for the Pirates. Miller with the tip. The game belongs to San Pedro, 25-14. That was an impressive display by the champions. Complete control of game one. San Pedro comes in here and looked very good.
Yeah, you can see this on game point here. Set from Miller. Double block goes right around it and tips it in there. Carson again miscommunicating. They don't have their defense set, and you can see them all crashing into each other. Trying hard, but just not trying smart.
Got to tell you, Amber McCall, even though she has a bad shoulder, she looked pretty solid in that first game. She did her thing, and that group has to regroup at this point as the Carson Colts have to get ready and see what they can do in game number 2. They, of course, do not want to fall behind 2 games to none. They lose the first game, and in between games, let's once again check in with Debbie O'Meara on the sideline.
Thanks, Randy. You know, as you work with these high school athletes, often as not, they don't just play one sport. So as you work with them, you talk to girls who play volleyball and basketball, volleyball and track, volleyball and softball. but in the time I worked in high school sports, the first one I talked to with something a little different, Mary LaPepa from Carson, who excels in volleyball and Polynesian dancing. Now, she started Polynesian dancing at the age of 3. Her mother, who had also been a dancer, got her into it, started competing at age 8, and has been excelling in Tahitian dancing ever since. In fact, just recently, her group went to a national championship in Utah and came in first place. Now, when I talked to Mary, did press her a little bit, asked her if push came to shove, if it were a championship in volleyball or a championship in dancing, which would she choose? She chose the volleyball. Randy?
Thank you, Debbie, and with good reason. She's absolutely an incredible volleyball player. She looked very good in the first game, but the supporting cast was not up to what San Pedro was when they're coming at you in waves.
Well, Carson just seemed a little bit out of sync to me in that first game, and you can't be out of sync when you play against San Pedro, because even without the best setter in the city section, didn't even get into the first game there, San Pedro looks like they've been playing together for 10 years.
And when we came into the gym, the first thing we went up to Samantha Taylor and said, are you going to play? Because she rested last week. She said, yeah, I'm getting in there today. I don't know that Christina Kumar wants to play, or if the team is playing this well with Perhat setting them. I mean, they're playing very well and might as well rest the shoulder of Taylor unless you have to use her. Well, she's out there now. So much for the sermon about resting her. Sam Taylor is on the scene. Number 16 in black for the Pirates. Well, let's see if they adjust to her. You see her bandaged right shoulder. She is a terrific player and a leader for San Pedro.
Yeah, it's never good when 2 or 3 of your top players have to spend an hour in the training room before you come out to a match. But San Pedro has so many weapons. I think they can weather these kind of injuries, and you just don't want to get somebody really hurt when you want to make that, before you make that postseason run.
Bubaka puts it down on a perfect back set from Taylor, and they immediately ran a different structured play with Taylor out there.
Well, look at how Taylor comes into the game, hasn't played in a week, and just a perfectly timed back set for Bubaka, comes around the set and kills it down. That is just such an effective weapon.
She has 89 aces, and it was Taylor that put it in play. Look at the hands and the perfect set. Benitez is rejected, though, and it was LaPepa. The obstruction by Mary LaPepa.
Well, and this is what happens when you go up against a double block, and especially when Mary LaPepa is on the other end of it. Gutierrez and LaPepa combining for an absolute roof on that one.
Mertens with the serve. McCall from the deep court. I don't see anything wrong with the shoulder, sorry. I mean, I got there in a hurry.
Maybe the tape is just to throw the opponents off.
Natalie Benitez. Transfer from Hoover High School. She came in with 137 kills. Miller missed it. Shannon Miller with a misfire. You know, you look at this Pirate team, and game in and game out, it's a different person leading them in kills every match because they're so balanced.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about, well, how come San Pedro didn't have any City Player of the Year when they won the city title? It's almost automatic in any different sport. I think they just have so many good players, it's hard to choose who their leader is.
They go back to Miller, it's straight down. Shannon Miller. And the future's bright. Shannon Miller is a sophomore. Alex Bubaka is a junior. Samantha Taylor is a junior. So there's some players to build around. Bree Hutton is a junior. Perhat is a junior. And Benitez is a junior. There's Bubaka in that jump serve. That time she misfired. Carson won in this gym against San Pedro in 3 straight games last year. San Pedro won at their house in 5. Service ace. Mary LaPepa. Who else?
LaPepa had no spin on that. I think that might have been a little bit of a knuckleball from LaPepa. We saw it coming right at us on the monitor. That ball moved a little bit. Watch it again. moves, and Jenny Miller has a hard time with it, which is very uncharacteristic of her.
Another ace. Bubika shouldn't really have played it. Would have been out, but it tied her up. And it's a point for the Colts. And again, in girls volleyball, if you serve tough and you get it going, you can score a lot of points.
Well, and it takes them out of their offense because they have to spend an extra pass after a good serve.
Cross-court winner. 6-3, that was Hirahara. And for the moment, San Pedro reeling.
Hirahara coming across off the block and off the net.
That breaks the momentum. LaPepa served it long, but again, she did her thing. She got the Colts into this second game with some momentum.
Yeah, and I really think that Carson will be a different team if they can just get a lead.
Jill Francis in serving for the Pirates. Willis is roofed. Taylor and McCall. The block brings the champions to within one. LaPepa. She hit it wide. Point San Pedro. Veteran Ivy Lewis is our up official, and she's a very good one. Francis again. Willis blocked. Free ball for the Pirates. Miller. McCall straight down. Sam Taylor is just a terrific setter, number 16.
She's so smart. She disguises where she's going with the ball every time.
She's physical, too. She's strong. Look at that. She just puts it up there for you.
Yeah, quick set. McCall is ready and knows what to do with that one.
Carson's playing better in this second game, but Taylor's on the floor, and the Pirates have elevated their game as well.
Yeah, San Pedro's a different team with Taylor on the floor.
Miller. Shannon Miller on the outside with the kill. 5 unanswered points for the Pirates.
San Pedro is very good at making runs, and Carson's got to be careful not to fall too far behind here.
Serve is long. Sarah Ojeda, an outside hitter junior, has come in for Jill Francis for San Pedro. That's Neapoli to serve. Neapoli, the catcher on the softball team here, so she knows about this San Pedro Carson rivalry. McCall on the slide is roofed. Willis. You don't see Amber McCall beaten like that very often.
Especially not with such a nice back set from Samantha Taylor, but Willis sniffed that out and was in perfect position to block that.
High-level volleyball in game 2. That's not going to get there. Try to serve short and take a team out of its game, but that serve obviously didn't have enough energy behind it.
Neapoli knew it was short as soon as she hit it and had a big smile on her face afterwards, but she knows that was a very important point.
Shannon Miller to put it in play. Benitez is dug by LaPepa. And mishandling of the ball on Hirahara. Mahina Hirahara, a leader, 3-year starter, made that mistake. Excellent defensive player normally. Pirates by 2. LaPepa from the back row is got by Bubika. The dump down by Taylor. McCall! That front attack, McCall and Bubika, sensational.
McCall, Bubika, Taylor. You see Taylor trying to dink it off. McCall sees it at the net, puts it away on one. Great play.
Monica Hernandez of Carson calls a timeout. I've got to tell you, I do not see anything wrong with McCall. You know, he's 93% pretty good. There's Christina Kumar, and she has a bunch of leaders in that huddle.
You know, this is a very young team, but there's a lot of maturity and a lot of experience in that huddle. San Pedro, you know, we saw them last year early on, Randy, and I got to give you credit on this one. You saw them play a game against Chatsworth, and everybody thought Chatsworth was a big team last year. You called it. San Pedro with all the sophomores, this is going to be an outstanding team. This year, next year, you think they can contend with anybody next year, right?
I think next year with the maturity, and normally the Southern Section schools, when it gets to the state tournament, and they play a state tournament, just easily take out the city. And San Pedro went down.
Yep.
I believe in their state match last year, they had one game where they were in it. But I think by the time they're seniors, and maybe even this year, if they win the city championship and get into the state, I think they can play with them. No guarantee that they're going to beat a Maricosta or somebody like that. But I think they're getting to the point where their game is getting good enough where they can be dangerous.
Yeah, they just have to stay healthy. And, you know, you said 93%. I'd like to see what 100% looks like with Amber McCall.
Ace for Shannon Miller. That's her 50th of the year. But again, the number one priority for all Los Angeles Unified School District teams is to win the city title. They're not concerned about the state. That's pie in the sky.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the city title is getting a lot harder to win every year. 3 teams from the Marine League went to the semifinals. Verdugo Hills, Chatsworth, Taft, all very good teams.
Taylor outside to Benitez. She sticks it down for a winner. And Natalie Benitez has just been an added weapon for the championship Pirate team. Willis misses. Normally she's not temperamental, but right this moment, Corey Willis is not happy. Very sweet young lady, but she's upset with herself.
Oh, she's mad at nobody but herself. This is exactly the same pattern that game 1 followed. We were tied at 8, and then San Pedro went on to rattle off 6 straight points.
Cover by Benitez. Willis blocked by McCall. Point San Pedro. There's Samantha Taylor. She's come in and been outstanding. So has been McCall and Bubika.
Well, watch again, Carson. Another telegraphed set there into the block, and they're trying hard, but they're running into each other. The communication is not there, and that's not going to fly against San Pedro.
Once again, the Pirates have not lost a game this year. Benitez needs to adjust. Hirahara hit it long. Carson a little bit frustrated. They came out and played very well. And you look up at the scoreboard and they're way behind. That's got to be disconcerting.
Yeah, both games, 8-8, and all of a sudden, San Pedro kicks it into another gear, and Carson falls apart.
25-14 in game 1 for San Pedro. They're on a similar path in game 2. Violation on the Colts, and another point for the Pirates, and Monica Hernandez wants another timeout. Game 2 is getting away from the host Colts.
Yep. Carson knows they can play with him. They certainly stay with him through the first part of this game, but I think San Pedro has so many weapons, they wear you out.
It's going to be interesting come tournament time. No question both schools will be there. Their fans will be there, and they get into it. Marine League Volleyball, the Premier League unquestionably right now in the city section.
Yeah, it used to be West Valley League. I think the Marine League has caught up. The Marine League with Narbonne, Carson, San Pedro. Narbonne beat Carson, and if this result stands up, Narbonne will be able to contend for the league title when they play San Pedro next time.
San Pedro already has a win at Narbonne. Pirates are a very solid team. Their fans love the Pirates. Great support in San Pedro for all their teams. Good crowd on hand. A lively gymnasium here in Carson. Miller serves. Mertens tips it down. Point Carson. Jasmine Mertens. Her father Ralph played and coached at Carson. Much needed point for the Colts, the Marine League champions from a year ago. Benitez, a rocket for a winner. That was the first BB we have seen so far tonight from Natalie Benitez.
Yeah, we talked about her in the opening, that when you get a weapon like this, you gotta take the gun out of its holster. Watch this, fires it down the line. There's absolutely nothing Hirohara can do with that one. A lot of steam behind that.
Good look at Amber McCall. Perfect serve, just off the tape. Willis is dug by McCall. McCall from the deep court missed it. It's funny when you look at Taylor and McCall with the shoulder gear. It looks like it's part of their repertoire on the team.
Yeah, it's a new fashion statement, huh?
Fashion statements because they're injured, but both wrapped up, both injured right shoulders. Another service mistake. That one didn't clear the net for Priscilla Lopez, junior defensive specialist. Really the primary passer on the Colts team.
Yeah. Talked to LaPepa before the game and said that Lopez is the team's best passer, and she gets in there for that reason alone, because you can tell she doesn't look like a volleyball player, about 4'11", but she has some skills.
Good news too for San Pedro. Samantha Taylor looks very good. No ill effects to her shoulder. I was able to get up on LaPepa on that block. Here's Benitez again. Forget it. Natalie Benitez is warming up. Not a good sign for the host Colts.
Here's Benitez again, almost the same play as the last one. Hirohara, one hand up, but the ball was already by her.
A 10-point gap. You can play it off the roof. Benitez with the roll shot, and another kill for Natalie Benitez. She's creating a little highlight reel for herself.
All of a sudden, Natalie Benitez has emerged as a star in this game. She's got the hard shot, she's got the dink shot, she can place it cross court. She's got all the full repertoire.
And LaPepa hits it wide. Did you think when this game was 7-7 or 8-8 that it would be this kind of margin near the finish?
No, not at all. I thought Carson looked like they were going to challenge for an upset, but it just seems that when San Pedro comes at you with this high-powered offense, takes you out of your game. I don't think this is Carson's game right now.
That's Heather Kumiyama, a junior defensive specialist, only 5'4", but very good in the deep court. Monica Hernandez just looking for an answer on who to pass the ball. LaPepa puts another one down, but LaPepa can't do it by herself.
No. San Pedro's got 5 different people who can take over a match. Carson needs more than 1 or 2. Right now, LaPepa and Willis are their only offensive threats.
Benitez with the kill, and LaPepa couldn't play it. Benitez is having a good time.
Yeah, Benitez having a good time, but Kumiyama, who just came into the game, made a great dig off of the first kill attempt there, and then Carson had another breakdown in passing. Very disheartening.
The good news for Carson is Kumiyama looks good in the deep court. She's come in, made a couple sparkling plays. 23-11. Pirates 2 points from game 2, going up 2 games to 9. LaPepa's roof. Alex Bubaka. And you hear the big boo in the background from the Pirate fans for number 2.
And here, this set is a little too close to the net. LaPepa does the best she can, but there's no wiggle room around Bubaka.
Game point for the champions and Natalie Benitez. LaPepa. They're still looking at it. They roll it wide. Game to San Pedro. That's a good job by Ivy Lewis looking at the lines person and saying, is it out or is it in? And the lines person said it was wide, and so San Pedro wins the game 25-11. So 25-14 and 25-11 for the defending city champion.
Take another look at it here, and yeah, it definitely was wide. Good call by the lines person.
We got a good officiating crew, good linesmen. I mean, it's a high-level, high-energy city section volleyball game. If you're Carson, what can you do? I mean, is there any answer to coming at a team that has so many weapons?
Yep. Well, I think that Carson needs to focus on itself and not about what San Pedro's doing. They've really been taken out of their game, and they're on their heels playing defense the whole time. Their game is to be the aggressor.
Good look at the fine crowd. Many of them are San Pedro supporters. And while we have the time, let's check in with Debbie once again.
You know, Randy, we talked just a little while ago about Mary LaPepa's unusual athletic combination. Well, guess what? We've got another unusual combination on the San Pedro side. This is Jill Francis, who is a volleyball player and a surfer. San Pedro being just one of 2 Los Angeles schools that have surf teams, the other one being Narbonne. Jill started surfing when she was 10 or 11 years old, enjoys the competition, sat out from volleyball for a year to surf, but came back to play volleyball probably with an eye on the future. But she was telling me earlier that she believes that San Pedro will continue to have a surf team throughout both fall and spring semesters this year, so she'll be able to fit both in this year. Randy and Ramona, back to you.
All right, thank you, Debbie. Surf team, huh?
That's quite the line.
You were at El Camino. They didn't have a surf team.
No,
there.
we didn't have a surf team at El Camino, and I got to find out what's going on with that.
It's got to be a lot of fun, though.
Yeah. Well, surfing is really big down here in the South Bay. Every year they have a lot of surfing tournaments at Huntington Beach, which is a little bit down the road. They got a lot of surfing going on at Manhattan Beach, which is right out here.
There are the game scores, 14-11. That's all Carson could muster up so far. Their cheerleaders trying to exhort them on, but right now it's all Pirates.
You know, it's a little sad, too, because you look at these game scores, 24-14, 25-11, and it seems like a blowout, but, you know, Carson has stayed right with San Pedro. I'd like to see how San Pedro would do against a team that's not as good as Carson, because so far from what I've seen, Carson is one of the best teams in the city, too. They just haven't been as good as San Pedro.
Amber McCall, she always likes to have a good time out there, number 3. Benitez has 6 kills, leading the way for the Pirates. McCall has 5 kills, 3 digs, and 4 blocks. Number 3, she has been outstanding in this match. Bubika has 4 kills. Shannon Miller, you're looking at her, number 5. She too has 4 kills. And again, it's distributed all around. And what I like is Perhat was the setter in the first game. She had 8 assists. Taylor was the setter in the second game. She had 8 assists.
Right on the money. I'd like to thank Jamal Street of San Pedro for doing the stats for us. Jamal helps out with all the San Pedro teams and does a great job. We know him from a lot of different things. There's a good look at McCall with another kill. But Jamal, you know, one of our favorite guys in the city section, and thanks for helping out with the stats today.
Yeah, Jamal really loves his Pirates. He's got a great team to love.
Oh, this team I really think could stay with any team. I've seen a lot of Southern Section schools too, covering them for the Daily News, and I think that, you know, San Pedro would give anybody a run for their money. And look, they have a lot of fun out on that court. It's you wouldn't know this is a big match.
No, I mean, we've talked about it before. They're really one of the nicest group of girls you'd ever want to meet. And candidly, so is Carson.
Yep.
And the two teams are very friendly. I talked to many of the players before the match, and it's a heated rivalry, but they like each other.
Yeah, they like each other. They're all nice people. And, you know, after the game, they'll give each other hugs and go hang out at the gym.
That one didn't clear, and it's a point for San Pedro. Willis's shot never got over the net. Taylor, as you can see, is staying on for game 3. There's that tough serve. Remember, 89 aces. Miller with the up. Benitez. LaPepa with the dig. Willis missed it. That's double contact, point San Pedro.
Well, the key for Carson here is to remember, you're down 2-0, but it takes 3 to win, and they can't think about how large or how long it's going to take to come back from this deficit.
Bree Hutton off the tape and down, a winner for Hutton. And San Pedro's the team that's come up fired up in game 3.
Well, San Pedro has that killer instinct all great teams do. Don't want to let a team like Carson get back into this.
There's another ace. San Pedro looks absolutely phenomenal right now.
And Randy, this is a team that when you have Samantha Taylor out for a week, you lose a little rhythm, but you wouldn't know it from the way she's played.
Look at the way Taylor is serving. That's 2 consecutive aces, 91 on the year.
Low line drives, a lot of top spin.
It's 5-0 after the last ace, so the Pirates have bolted to a sizable advantage early. Willis going down the line, and the Colts get a point.
Well, they needed that because this was going to get away from them. Corey Willis saw an opening down the line. Watch this. It wasn't set very high. Willis lets it come down, barely jumps, and went right past Taylor in front of Miller. Saw that opening and took advantage.
Pirahar to serve. Paulina not going to get there. That's plagued the Colts all day long. Service miscues.
We haven't been keeping track of that stat, but I would venture to say they've had at least 5 points given away in each of these first 2 games.
Mertens flagged down by Benitez. Miller just pops it over. Morales setting Willis. Great up by the Pirate team. And on the flip side, the Colts are scrambling. Free ball for San Pedro. Bubaka can't put it away. Chance for the Colts. Mertens roll shot dug by Benitez. Good rally. Bree Hutton is blocked. Still alive. Miller spike. Up by Neapoli. Best rally of the match by far. Still going. Miller misses. Point. Carson. Maybe that will get the Colts going.
That was a great rally. Everybody involved. Willis with some nice hits. Neapoli with some nice digs. Hirahara with some good setting. Carson, that can be a rallying point right there. You see Miller usually rallies in like that. When somebody finally makes a mistake, Carson needs to take that and turn it into some momentum.
Hirahara serves. Bubaka. But nothing seems to deter this San Pedro team.
Hirahara looks exasperated. She's in the back row. She doesn't know what to do anymore. She's trying to defend 5, 6, 7 people, and all she could do is stick her elbow out at that one.
Bubaka with a service error. Priscilla Lopez, straight A student serving. Mary LaPepa. Bree Hutton was greeted by the All-City player and a point for the Colts.
LaPepa looks intense.
She is.
She's played a great match so far. Hasn't had much help from the supporting cast, but she can still bring her team back with a win here.
That one's through for Amber McCall. At point-blank range. Randy Rosenbluth, Ramona Shelburne, and Debbie O'Meara at the Carson Gym in Carson, California. Marine League Volleyball today on LA 36 and KLCS. Pirates up 2-0 and leading in game 3. From the middle, Miller, dug by Neapoli. Gutierrez with the offhand, the left hand. Miller is blocked. Gutierrez and LaPepa.
Well, that's been a great combination for Carson on the block. It's been the most effective block they had. I think that's the 3rd double block they have here. Watch this again. They get over in time early, and LaPepa, who else with the block?
5 serving 8. Jasmine Mertens to put it in play. McCall. LaPepa was there, but the steam of the shot was too tough, and a point for the Pirates and McCall. It's tough when you got 3 or 4 or 5 all-city players coming at you.
Well, and you see LaPepa get over, but she's not close enough to the net. Her momentum was taking her the other way, and McCall took advantage.
The champions come at you in waves. And they're on the attack again. In transition, here's McCall on the slide. Hirahara with the up. LaPepa, not yet. Another good rally. Here's Benitez with the tip. It's down. Easy roll shot and a tip winner for Natalie Benitez.
Well, you know, she was so dominant in game 2. We haven't really called her name yet this game, but here she is again, wide open, and sees the double block, goes right up over the top. Here O'Hara can only lunge at it.
Shannon Miller to serve. That's not going to get over the net. Point, San Pedro. At sight, it's very obvious that San Pedro is passing the ball much more crisply than Carson.
Well, San Pedro, they play together all summer, all year round. Carson only has a couple of club volleyball players, and the difference is very noticeable.
Well, this San Pedro team, again, they have not lost a game all season. Forget matches. If they hold on here, and it certainly looks like they will, they'll go to 22 straight matches without losing a game. Ramona, that's a remarkable accomplishment.
A remarkable accomplishment, and it's not like they're playing bad teams. They've beaten the best teams in the city section this year, and they've done it in 3 games.
And in tournaments, they've beaten Verdugo Hills. They've beaten Chatsworth. The only powerhouse team they haven't played is Taft.
Right.
So maybe Taft, but who knows? Off of what we've seen today, without question, the champions of San Pedro are still the team to beat. They are exceptional. Just so many weapons.
Yeah, so many weapons. You know, I still, at the end of this game, would be hard-pressed to tell you who the player of the game is. Who's the player of the game?
I think Amber McCall. I just think playing with the bad shoulder, she's been so great at the net. But you can make a case for 2 or 3 others.
There's 2 or 3 other players for San Pedro who've really had great games. There's McCall. You've got Benitez, who's had a great game. Samantha Taylor's come back in and passed very well. And San Pedro, just too many weapons.
Miller putting it back in play. Colts are going in reverse. Benitez up by Neapoli. LaPepa's blocked by McCall. LaPepa again. McCall's on her again. McCall can set too to Benitez. McCall has it in the corner. Amber McCall is having a phenomenal match.
She's been all over the place. She blocks the ball, she digs the ball, she sets, she kills. Watch this. She's been involved in every single part of this play. They pop it back up. Nice long rally. Sees the ball exposed at the net and pulls it away.
Wonderful up. On a LaPepa drive that looked like a kill. Here's LaPepa again with the roll shot. Taylor dumps it down. Point San Pedro. That's just too smart. Knowledge of the game. Sam Taylor on the dump completely fooled Carson.
Yep, the dump completely fooled him. And you know, it was telling because on the play before, LaPepa did the same thing. She tried to dump it over, but Benitez was there very calmly. So you see the difference between the 2 clubs.
San Pedro rolling up 2 games. 25-14 and 25-11. And you can see they have a comfortable margin in game 3. At another point, they just continue to come at you. Can't fault the effort of these Colts. This is a good Carson team.
This is a great Carson team. They just haven't played together as much as San Pedro, and they don't have as many weapons.
Another great serve. Tremendous depth to that serve. McCall tooling it off of LaPepa. Point Pirates. (15-5). They've had a double-digit lead in every game.
Yeah, in every game. This one has actually been the least competitive of the 3, and I think sometimes you get down 2-0, and it's hard to keep that momentum going forward because the hole you have to dig yourself out of is so deep.
It's a serve that doesn't clear. We will have the city championship game for you on LA 36 and KLCS later this season from Occidental. Pirates hoping to get back there and defend their city title. Benitez. Well, adding her to the mix has made San Pedro unbelievable.
Wow. Benitez you know, the strong get stronger, right?
Well, she's not just another addition. She's a great addition.
Yeah, she might be the best offensive player on the team. The other players in this team are much better all-around players in every aspect of the game, but Benitez has just got a rifle.
There she goes again. Diapoli somehow able to get it out. Bubika, and there's Diapoli trying to play it with the chicken wing dig attempt, but she could not get it to a teammate. Bubika with the kill, and it's an 11-point lead.
Well, and you know what's difficult for Carson is that they are getting the digs on these. They're just not passing well afterwards. Watch, that's a nice up, but there's no communication, and the ball falls. They can't get into their offense, and it goes down in the books almost as a kill.
Bubika. Diapoli and McCall able to play it. Here's Benitez with the big run-up and another cross-court winner. A wicked attack from Natalie Benitez.
Well, it's kind of dangerous to give a player like Natalie Benitez no block to hit against. She's too good of a player. You know, one thing I've noticed in this game is watch how often Carson players are running into each other on the court and how seldom San Pedro has the same problem. It seems Carson doesn't know where everybody else is on the court. San Pedro, it's like they've been playing together. They know where they're going to be. They have an expectation of where everyone else on the team is going to be at all times.
Carson High School. We're going to be back in this neck of the woods next week on LA 36 and KLCS from the Home Depot Center. Carson and Banning in football.
But, you know, two of the most storied programs in the city section off to an 0-5 start.
Each.
But it's still a great rivalry. They've got the Home Depot Center, which is just a jewel of a stadium if you haven't been down there. Strongly suggest to go. It's going to be great having a football game there, and always a great rivalry between Carson and Banning.
Really between them, Carson and Banning have more city championships than any two schools. Speaking of city championships, there are the champs from a year ago, and they look like a team that is ready to defend. They look like a team that's going to get a Marine League title, too, which avoided them last year. Remember, they finished third.
Yep, I don't see how any team in the city section is going to beat this San Pedro team if they continue to play this well.
What about Verdugo Hills with Crystal Perryman? They got good players around her.
I agree. I think Verdugo Hills reminds me a lot of Carson, where they've got the one big gun. But I think the difference with San Pedro is that if you only have one or two offensive threats, San Pedro can defend that well. But when you go up against a team like the Pirates with 3, 4, 5 great offensive weapons, you have to pick your poison, and they just have too much offense.
And they're experienced and poised.
Yep. Crystal Perryman, though, don't take anything away from her. Great player. We saw her a couple weeks ago, and one of the best players in the city section.
Yara Har can't get it over the net. Another point for San Pedro. Well, the inevitable is about to happen. San Pedro is going to get another sweep. They have this one all but wrapped up. LaPepa pounding away, and she will pick up another kill. Well, you're looking at the Coast City Player of the Year, and arguably the best individual player in Los Angeles. And despite her having a fine match, her team has been blown out in all 3 games.
Yep, this one, it's close for half the game, but San Pedro pulls away. You know, one thing I wanted to note, if San Pedro does hang on and win this game, it'll be the first victory the Pirates have had at Carson since 2002. That's also the last time San Pedro won the Marine League. They went 10-0 that year.
Dumped down by Taylor again. That ploy has worked twice in this game. Well, the return of Samantha Taylor has been a very good one in games 2 and 3. And Taylor able just to dump this one down and confuse the Colts again. These teams play each other twice. They'll meet again on October 27th at San Pedro. There's Sam Taylor, relaxed, having a good time. Asked her if what percentage do you think you are after the shoulder problem? She said about 50, 60%, but she looks smooth so far.
Sure, it's not like 58%.
No, I'm not sure. Bubika with the block. Bree Hutton with the tip. We got a football score, 21-7. That's another billboard to remind us of the football game with Carson and Banning coming up.
Yep, and if you can't make it to Home Depot Center and watch it on KLCS, it's going to be a good one. You guys have had a couple of good football games on recently.
I know you enjoyed the Birmingham Dorsey game, and Chatsworth Kennedy was pretty good as well.
Kennedy is a really interesting football team this year. I think they're 5-0 already, which is more wins than they've had the past 3 seasons combined. Bob Brancola's got a good team going in this last season. He's going to retire after this year. And, you know, watch out for Kennedy in that Valley Mission League.
Another point for San Pedro. They're 3 away from another sweep. They're going to go to 22-0, counting tournament play, which is not official play. But they have been dominant in the city as well. Carson's going to lose for only the 3rd time this season. Taylor setting to Benitez, who tips it and has it. 23-7. The points continue to mount. 2 from the match.
Yeah, Carson is getting frustrated. Nothing to hang their heads about, but there's obviously the bar set very high for anybody else in the city section this year.
Taylor has a terrific serve. Bree Hutton had to come back at him. Willis, and she pops it long, and we come to match point. Samantha Taylor with that booming serve will look to wrap it up right here. 24-7. Willis got that one through, so it's a point for the Colts. But another match point upcoming for San Pedro. And they know they have it wrapped up.
It's all academic at this point.
Melina Neapoli to serve. Neapoli family, famous for volleyball. Paul Neapoli, her first cousin, former All-American at UCLA. That one hits the roof. Match is over. The shot by Morales didn't get back on the other side. And 25-8 in the final game. 25-14, 25-11, 25-8. A tremendous performance by the Pirates.
Well, here's a match point set over there to who else? Benitez. Nice dig, but it goes off the light fixture. Kind of symbolic of how this day went for Carson. Just not in sync. Nothing going their way.
My player of the game was Amber McCall. I just think she was terrific. Set the tone early in game 1. Hitting, blocking, just all around playing. Not that San Pedro needed a spark after winning game 1 25-14, but when Taylor came in, they were even better in games 2 and 3.
Yeah, you know, they went to another level when Samantha Taylor came in. But overall, I was very impressed with San Pedro all around. Benitez was a great addition. McCall, I don't know what 100% is for her, but 93 was outstanding.
I like what Christina Kumar is doing with the team. I mean, this is the first year she's taken them over. There's been no drop-off. I know she was the junior varsity coach, but, man, they look really good.
Yeah, you don't see that very often to change coaches and not miss a step. At San Pedro, again, has to be the favorite to repeat as city section champs.
Well, the player of the match certainly for us was Amber McCall, and she's standing by with our Debbie O'Meara. Debbie?
Thanks, Randy. Amber, you told me before the match that with that shoulder you thought you were at 93%. Now, I got to tell you, if it hadn't been for the bandage, I don't think I'd have known you were at less than 100. Did anything actually feel less than 100 to you today?
No, I think there was just so much energy in this gym that it didn't even make a difference. The pain didn't even make a difference today.
Was there some point during the match where you really felt like you had it in hand?
Probably the first game when we had our backup setter in and we just started to pull ahead and we had so much momentum that we knew that we could take this game.
So given the success you've had so far, how do you think things look for the rest of the year?
I think things are looking up. I mean, things are in our favor so far, and we've been doing really well, and we're going to keep playing strong and hoping for the best.
Well, good luck to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Back to the table, Randy and Ramona.
All right, Debbie, thank you. Thank Amber McCall, who very sweet young lady and a terrific volleyball player, and no ill effects. And there's Sam Taylor dumping the ball down, too, who's so good. I mean, all around, this was just a #1 premium performance by the champions from San Pedro. They're obviously far superior to last year's team. There's no guarantees when you get into a tournament.
Yep.
You get one match, you can lose, you could be gone. But this is a much better team than the one that won the championship last year.
Yeah, we saw them last year. We were very impressed. I'm even more impressed this year. I'd like to see them go up against some of the best teams in the southern section, because right now, for all the rest of the teams in the city section, that bar is set very high.
Yeah, they're a championship caliber team, but again, there are some other teams out there, and you can see that there's a closeness. Benita's number 10, a wonderful addition to the squad. But this is a team it's got some stumbling blocks in front of them. Narbonne is very good. Verdugo Hills is very good, but the Pirates, they are certainly the team to beat. It's tough when you got a team that has so many weapons like this. Today was Amber McCall. Benita's had her moments. I know in the second game she took it to another level.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing with San Pedro is you just don't know who to stop. All of their players are good, and they're getting better. They're young players. Wait till we see them next year.
Also, too, you notice Benita's game got better when Taylor came on the floor.
Yep.
Nothing against Perhat, who's an accomplished setter in her own right. But when Sam Taylor got on the floor, Benitez immediately had that connection with her, and it was lights out for Benitez and lights out for the Colts.
Yeah, the center in volleyball is like a good point guard in basketball. They make everyone around them look better. Taking a look at another highlight for San Pedro, there were so many highlights for the Pirates today. They are just an outstanding team. They pass well. They communicate well. They've been playing together forever, and they look like it.
Well, the Pirates, as you can see, some warm-up action in the gymnasium. The JV match follows the varsity match, so there's players out there warming up. And once again, let's go to Debbie O'Meara.
Thanks a lot. This time I had the other player of the game, Natalie Benitez, with me. Natalie, you're tired.
Yes, I am. It's hard work cheering. That was like the main thing, was to cheer, be loud, and cheer for the whole team, and just, you know, work hard and win. That was, yes, I'm a loss for words.
What do you think was your strongest moment in the game?
My strongest moment, I think that I think that I add to the team the most by cheering, because I think I have the most I have the most energy. It's unbelievable. I don't know. I'm so happy.
Did this game take you by surprise at all the way it went?
A little bit, actually. It did. I wasn't too sure how we were going to do, but I'm happy the way it turned out. I really am.
You have very good reason to be. Thanks for talking to me.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Randy and Ramona.
All right, Natalie Benitez, of course, a transfer, and she's not used to this rivalry, so she didn't know what was in store for her, but ends up being a relatively easy win for the San Pedro Pirates.
But you see Mary LaPepa there. She was the standout performer for Carson today, but they just weren't in sync. They were running into each other all day. They had a lot of passing errors, and it was very hard for the Colts to get in sync when you're going up against a buzzsaw like San Pedro.
When I just look at this record at 22-0, not losing a game. I mean, some of the matches are 2 out of 3 in the tournaments. It's 3 out of 5 when you can see them against the other competition. But they are so good. The Pirates win today, 3 in a row, 25-14.